Welcome to the Treasured Page. I'm Melanie and this is our quiet crafting space. I wanted to follow on today from last video where I showed you how we made the Aromatherapy scented faux rice paper style homemade paper-esque all from a napkin. And it was just a small napkin like this. It works out about 9.5 inches by 9.5 inches, this whole square. And the paper used here is the underside of the top cover. So here is the top cover, and these were the two sandwiched together with some petals sprinkled through. They were glued together, and if you'd like to see how I make my glue mix so that there's a sensory element to it using aromatherapy oils, please check out my video. I'll leave the link in the description box below along with the supply list of all the things that I use. Okay, so what I want to do now is develop the idea further. We've developed these, we've got these papers created, and I want to see what else I can now make with them. So they are really cool. We've got the petals trapped in, the crinkle is there, it's got a nice feel, there's strength to the project. You may have seen other crafters using this, but we are now just going to see what we can make once we've got this material, and all from one napkin. Have a look at this sheet of wax paper, and I cut it roughly to the same size. I looked at folding it in on itself to make a pocket, but because it's textured and rippled, it does bring a bulk to the end result. And also, if I'm wanting to stick something down on a journal page, I will lose that on the underside. So I thought what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach it to this paper here. Well, this could be vellum, it could be tracing paper, it could be a white paper, a freezer paper. I'm using the wax paper here. I thought that I would sew it, but in the interest of working smarter and not faster, I'm thinking that I might be able to sew down the centre and then across to create pockets. What I'm going to do is do 2 lines of stitching down here, and then off here, sort of like a checkered flag, so that I create pockets to rip apart. So I'm going to go to the sewing machine and see if it will sew through firstly all of this using this wax paper method here. So I'm going to have a look at that. Okay, so I'm going to just sew down this side along the bottom and up the other side again in a U shape. I'm not going to sew along the top. I'm going to use a straight stitch. Make sure I'm catching in the bottom sheet of wax paper as I go. I had to come in a bit there because the paper isn't quite so close to the edge. We just pull the threads out, cut, and released the project. What I've got now, a massive paper bag. Right, so the next thing I want to do is through the middle I'm going to sew one straight line across, which will form the bottom of the top bag. Straight across. And then I need 2 lines across here, going down. I can now see the individual pockets that these are going to create, so I'm going to go round again on each of them in a more artistic way. Just very gently does it. Alright, so this is what I ended up doing. I have sewn all the way round 3 of the edges, leaving the top open because that will be the top of the pockets. I've created 4 pockets by doing one line, straight line across, and then 2 lines down the centre, and then I went round again with a more decorative wibble wobble wonky line all the way around in U shapes, so that I create the pockets. So now what I'm going to try and do is use my tearing ruler. I'll probably want the scissors as well, just to give myself a 1/2 inch seam allowance and rip that apart. Oh, okay, so that's maybe not the way to go. Okay, so that's not going to work. I'm going to cut it free, and then we can sort out how to get a more interesting edge on the top. I think I've got more control just by tearing it by hand now. The paper does want to go in all different directions, so I'll just cut through that bit there. Can you see? And then we'll just tear some meat in the middle. Okay. And then I've got some loose threads, which are fantastic. I have ended up with a straight bottom, but to be fair, that's probably going to end up on the straight edge of the bottom of the journal. So if I had left myself a bit more room, I could have torn it. This one I have gone through, so all I need to do there is just a stitch there, and we'll just make a feature of that bit. So that's not a problem there. This is all part of the interest. I could just tear that top bit off. Just there we go. So there's 2, and then this one. So I'm just going to cut through the thread at the bottom and then tear down by hand, and then turn it round so I can do the same from the top down, meeting in the middle to separate them. And then this is a wider pocket. I've got a hole here, that's where I went wrong when I glued it. You can have a look in the first part of the video and see how these were created. Take that extra off of the side. Well, these were different. It's a different thing to do. Okay, well, that's how that worked out. So from one napkin we've got 4 little bags. It's all come together really quickly. Those are all ready to be decorated now, or left. What more do you want? Let's think about, maybe we could use one of these fun butterflies and just see what that would look like. And then, you know, that could be added there. Where's the one with the hole in it? It's there. Or we can add a few. I don't think you'll be able to do the wetting of the tissue because you've got the resist of the glue. And to do that, I'm really covering my thumb and holding it tight over the top of the image so that the tear doesn't go through the butterfly wing. Ooh, but worth the effort. Really is. So now this one's not very exciting because it's got those brown petals in there. I can add that. Any kind of cluster would look fantastic, wouldn't it? That's what to do with your clusters. Down there, little bag, interesting crinkle sounds. Butterfly, butterfly. Something else for this one, or a fussy cut one. You can bring in a more matte one, something like that. How fantastic is that? Little butterfly bags. This I did in the first video, which was a fussy cut over the top of an old vintage dictionary paper, and then some tissue paper from the napkin. So all we've used is one napkin. Got a complete, totally different material out of it just by being a little bit clever. This, where we made this plume cluster, have a look at all my other videos. I've got loads of cluster videos. There's a whole section in the playlist on clusters. And then this just gives it a really interesting background. So it's like a glassine bag, because then you've got your tuck spot in the back there, so you can put your tags in. And it will be contain maybe tickets, maybe some artwork, whatever you might have that you want to pop in and display on a journal page. So the other thing I've just found is this fussy cut that I did on the last video, where I had glued it down on top of dictionary paper, which is an old vintage one, and then we covered it over with the glue and the tissue paper and just used that same technique. But I just thought it would look quite interesting on this paper bag with the pocket behind, and then if I stick it on 3 sides down there along the bottom and up the top, I'll have a pocket at the back as well, right the way around, and just some through the middle as well, and to just see what that would look like. Now I have already inked round it, and I used Gathered Twigs by Tim Holtz, so that's already been a bit grunged up just with my ink blending tool there. And I used the minis from Tim Holtz, so there's a link to that below. I could maybe just add a little green. I feel like I want the green on there. This one is old paper. It's a very subtle green. So I just maybe see if I can get a bit there. Just feel I want green, I don't know why. The only other thing is I could put down something down the side, just there. What have we got? I've got maybe something like this, which is yellow. This is a dyed Sari silk. Again, I'll leave a link to this sort of thing. You can dye it yourself. I could add that there if we like that. Let's try that. And bring a little interest and tell a story, because this feels like a bit more woodlandy, like a nice walk in the woods. So that you would see the irises. These look quite fun because they look like black irises. I'm going to see if that will move up a bit. And just still lacking something. What about a ticket in the same colour? That's a railway ticket. I like that. We could put a little hole punch in there as well to make it look like it's been punched, but this is fine. Maybe a label. I think I like that. Just one of Tim Holtz specimen labels, or it could be a number. So this is how you can use all these little labels and bits that you can get. These can be found on Etsy. Just take off the white edge where that's been cut out, and then just glue it into position. Really interesting little bag there, and perfect for tags and all things that we might want to add and pop in the top, just to keep it all in place. So that's one idea. And then what else could we do? We have these butterflies. I think I better add them. I've got some runnier glue here, so I might just add that there. So we've got the butterflies. I want a label down the bottom. Okay, keep the labels in mind. Oh, I've got a bit of fabric. That goes with that butterfly, doesn't it? So just a line of glue, scrap there. And you just play, you do what you want to do. You don't have to copy this at all, do you? Yours is going to be better than mine, because you will be giving it some of your attention, whereas I'm rushing, trying to make a video, talk at the same time, and it's all going quickly. There we are. And how about a button on the top? That any good? Oh, I'm really covered now. Or so no, that was the one. This one's just been cut off of something, hasn't it? Doesn't matter. There you go. Right, that's another one done. And then what about this one? Now this had the hole in it, so I think I had a butterfly there. Another use you could have maybe the skeleton leaves again that we've been using in other projects recently. So if you've seen those on my supply list and perhaps want to get hold of a pack of those, there are several projects here that would lend itself to the skeleton leaves. And then we just want to put this beautiful butterfly down. Actually a cicada. I'm covered in glue and cotton and now gold thread. Fun. Having fun. So if you're enjoying the video, do give me a thumbs up and leave a comment. I'd be so grateful if you would like to subscribe to the channel. Obviously it doesn't cost you anything and it doesn't mean that you're signing up to anything funny or peculiar. It is just a way to tell YouTube that you enjoy my videos, that they're worthwhile, that you're appreciating what I'm doing, and then it will let others see the videos as well rather than slowing the whole thing down. So that would be a big help if you're finding value. I think that's enough now, so I should just display what I've got here, and then you can just see the different looks and the things that you could do with your own napkin. And that's all it was, one napkin, and then all our little supplies of glue. You don't have to do the sewing down the side either, that could just be a glue, doesn't matter, just gives it an edge and different bit. But you could easily just sew on some lace or stick down lace, or not have lace and just stick it, and even that would look amazing because it's really interesting. And there's the little pockets, and the strings can stay on or not. Fun little bags, and you would sort of, that's quite a nice little gift even for a child. You put some sweets in there, you could put some fabric swaps in there, little buttons or things, or hair bobbles, something that you could give to a little girl, that's quite nice. Or perfect little wedding favours to go on the tables. Ooh, all sorts of things, wouldn't that be nice? Or christening or birthday giveaways with some little sugared almonds or something in there, just some nice ideas. And then this for a more vintage botanical Victorian journal with the map. Oh, all sorts, just gives a real vibe, a real good feel. How about we put it in the journal just so you can see how it might look on a page. And that could go there as a pocket, and you just sew around all three. Just brings some life to the page. It could be a flip, so you could still write. There we go, lots of ideas. I hope you found value here, and you make 4 at a time with the smaller napkins, but you could have bigger bags if you use the larger size napkins. I've used a 9.5-inch napkin, that is a cocktail napkin, but we have the larger ones as well, which are the normal size lunch napkins. So there we are. And just bringing you some ideas on how you could decorate and what you could do with these bags, making them quickly in a mass make sort of way, and just having fun with it. Okay guys, there we go. Hope you've had fun. I hope you found value here. Please like and subscribe, and leave a comment below if you thought this was useful. And I'd love to see some photographs. If you'd like to join my Facebook page, we're having a lot of fun over there. You can go to the treasured page FB group and upload photos there of the makes, and you can also hashtag them to the treasured page on Instagram. Just slow down and make crafting time for you. Bye bye now.